Let's check in now with Tim Bigham of Delta Derivatives for a look at our trader rundown. And Tim, Facebook has to be on the minds of traders today.
Yeah, absolutely. And this one, especially on the heels of the blowout numbers from Google, I think will either confirm or non-confirm kind of that FANG name we saw Netflix miss, Google beat by a big margin. So Facebook rallied up in sympathy. I'm a little bit cautious on Facebook. I think they'll do fine on earnings. They're looking for $1.90 and about $13.5 billion on revenues. But I think given the big up move we've seen, that upside may be tempered here.
Right, a record set in Google off of earnings, and now you have Facebook setting a record in front of earnings. So what would be your trade here?
Yeah, absolutely, and I just like the fact that this week's options are obviously higher priced because of earnings, so I'm buying next week's at the money puts, the 215s, selling this week's, paying only about 40 cents here, really cheap play here. I just think given the move higher in Facebook, I think they may do fine on earnings, but I think the reaction will be somewhat muted, so if that's the case, that will absolutely expand. If not, I got very little at risk.
In Google, we did see some 1,300 calls active in the market yesterday. Is Google just a runaway train at this point?
Yeah, if anything, that gives me pause for concern, certainly from
You're
a contrarian
contrarian
standpoint. But whenever the upside, and also implied vol to the upside, is now higher than the downside in Google, normally when you see that too, that's a sign maybe things got a little over euphoric here. So that's why I have that cautious outlook on Google going forward here.
Are you seeing any unusual options activity in any stocks right now?
Yeah, absolutely. Seeing one in a name really that hardly ever comes into play, KAR. Car auction saw a big repeat buyer in the OX 65 calls. Stock's around $60, but they lifted the implied vol from 20 to over 25. So I'm jumping in, selling those calls, hedging by selling comparatively expensive puts, the 55 puts, just looking to capture that volume for Car to kind of settle down here.
Tim, before you take off, any general thoughts about the market?
Yeah, I think for me, I'm buying some cheap short-term puts here with vol now back. Last I looked below that $12 level on the VIX here. Certainly, I think some protection here for the portfolio. Hasn't been cheaper in a long time. Plus, big-time gamma if I happen to be right.
Always a pleasure. Thank you,
bet.
Tim.
Anytime, Edge.
Check out businessfirstam.com to find out where to see our entire show. And don't forget to like, follow, and share Business First AM.